Welcome everyone to another session of Snowflake. Today we'll look at the virtual warehouses. So if you remember from our session where we discussed about the Snowflake architecture, there are three main layers, right? There was a cloud services layer, there was a virtual warehouse layer or the compute layer, and the third was the storage layer. So this session today is about the virtual warehouse layer. So this is the actual layer, this is actual compute layer where all the processing happens. So whenever you fire a query, the actual query processing happens within this layer. Now Snowflake supports the or provides the compute power by using which is something called as a virtual warehouse. So we have to create a virtual warehouse. So every user will come and create a virtual warehouse, or he can reuse some of the virtual warehouse which is already created. Okay, but for any kind of processing, let's say you're doing a data ingestion or you're querying some table, for any kind of processing you need a virtual warehouse. Without virtual warehouse you cannot query the data or ingest the data. um, if you want to see just the count within a table, that can be done without a virtual warehouse, because that comes from the cloud services layer, the metadata management part, right? But if you are actually trying to ingest a data or you're doing some joins or filtering, that is where you need a virtual warehouse. So what does this virtual warehouse consist of in Snowflake? Okay, it is nothing but a cluster of compute resources. You will get a CPU, right? You will get the actual server for processing. It has its own memory and there is some temp storage also. It is attached with some kind of SSDs. Though the storage layer is separate, right? We have seen we can scale compute and storage separately. These warehouses has some kind of a storage which powers the caching, okay, like some ssds. But yeah, at a high level you can look at it as a the main server which is going to do your processing. Now you cannot define the CPU and the memory separately. Okay, it all comes as package. So there is a predefined sizes for all this virtual warehouse. As you can see on this slide, you can define a virtual warehouse which is of XS size, which is extra small, up to 4x. Okay, so this is nothing but the t-shirt sizing. So if you want to process a really small query, you can go for extra small. But if you think that query, it's taking more time, then you can always resize it. You can upsize it to the next level. To give an example, let's say you are running a query which is taking 10 minutes, which extra small, but you want it to be completed within, let's say, less than 5 minutes. You can try upsizing your cluster to small. Now, what is the difference in these two, right? XS comes with, one CPU, okay? Whereas small will come with a double the size of that. So you will get exactly double compute power of that. And this number, right, XS is 1, small is 2, it also defines the credits per hour. So if you are running an extra small cluster for 1 hour, it will be 1 credit will be consumed. But if you are running a small cluster for 1 hour, 2 credits will be consumed. Similarly, if you are running a large virtual warehouse for an hour, 8 credits will be consumed. So this number also corresponds to the credit as well as the the compute servers behind that. um Now while we are looking at all these things, right, there is also concept of multi-cluster warehouse that some of you might would ask, what if I am running a multi-cluster virtual warehouse? So let's say you have a virtual warehouse and you are currently running it as a single cluster, right, with let's say small as the size, right? Now if you create a multi-cluster warehouse, you can create multiple of multiple clusters. So and that can be up to 10x. Okay, you can scale out up to 10x. So let's say you are running a small virtual warehouse and you find there are multiple people running the query and you want your concurrency to be scaled up, you can go with a multi-cluster warehouse within a small virtual warehouse. So what will happen if you're running a small virtual warehouse and you go with a multi a cluster kind of setup and you say, okay, I can go up to 5 clusters. So you will get 5 small virtual warehouse. Okay, within that virtual warehouse, you will get 5 small um, servers, you can say, which are going to run the query or help you to do the concurrent query processing at the same time. Okay, so that is how a multi-cluster would work. And as mentioned some time back in one of our lectures, for multi-cluster you will need an enterprise edition. Okay, this is not available within the standard edition. If you're looking for a multi-cluster warehouse, always go with the enterprise edition. Okay. um a few more things that you can observe when you are actually creating a virtual warehouse. If you are within the UI, right, and if you go and click on create the warehouse, the default in UI is Excel. Okay, so always when you're creating, ensure that you are creating a extra small cluster. If you're running it for just R&D purpose or just for learning purpose, ensure that if you're creating a warehouse, do change that. Okay, because there is a lot of difference. Access consumes 1 credit per hour while Excel consumes 16 credits per hour. Okay, that's one thing. But if you're running this from your command line, let's say you have SnowSQL installed and you're creating from there, then the default is the extra small. So that time you don't have to worry. Now, there are some important properties that you need to understand and you need to set up while doing this. The two most important are auto suspend and auto resume. Okay, when you are creating a new warehouse, ensure that you have the auto suspend on, right? Maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, because you don't want to keep your cluster running, though if you are not using it. So what happens in auto suspend is, right, if you are not using the cluster and you have set the time as 5 minutes, after 5 minutes it will go into suspend state. And once it is in suspend state, you won't get charged. Remember, you are only going to get charged for a running warehouse. You are not getting charged if a warehouse is created. Okay, if and only if the virtual warehouse is running, only then you get charged. So it is important to have your auto suspend on. Okay, keep it 5-10 minutes, whatever it is. At the same time, you can do an auto resume also. So what happens as soon if a cluster is a if a virtual warehouse is in auto suspended state, and if you fire a query, it will auto resume. You don't have to go and start it. Okay, these two are really important features which helps a lot. So ensure you have the auto suspend and auto resume enabled. Third is the scaling policies, which we touched upon briefly. If you are running a multi-cluster warehouse, you can define a scaling policy. Now, there are two types of scaling policies. Let's not get into a lot of details, but just remember that, um, if you're looking for a performance optimized kind of a scaling policy, okay, it is available. And if you're looking for a cost optimized scaling policy, even that is available. So what's the differences in performance optimized? The core focus would be on, having a better performance. So it may start uh, if five clusters are available, right? It will look at the load and it will start those all five clusters as per the load. But if it is a cost optimized one, then right, Snowflake will look at the current load, and then it will look at what is the best way to optimize the cost and then run this. It won't start all the clusters even the load is high. Even the frequency for checking, right, what is the load, that is different. Okay, but these are into more granular level details. Let's not get into that. But at the high level, right, as of now, just remember scaling policy. There are two types where you can either have a cost optimize or you can have a performance optimize. You can do further reading for that, which is how it works and what are the nitty-gritties inside that. And finally, how the warehouses are charged, right? Say if you're running it for say 10 minutes, right, so it is not that you are charged for the whole hour. Okay, you are charged per second. So initially it is only 1 minute. So let's say you start a warehouse, okay, and you close it within 10 seconds, but you will be charged for 1 minute. But after that it is a per second billing. Okay, so remember that. So that is the reason people don't really suspend it always. Okay, so if there are workloads which are continuously running, okay, then it doesn't make sense to keep it auto suspend always, because then what will happen is, one, you're going to lose the cache. Okay, and the second is uh, you'll be charged for 1 minute, the first 1 minute always. Okay, and after that is per second billing. So these are the different types of features of virtual warehouse. The best is you can go to the console, create a warehouse, and see that. If you need to understand when a virtual warehouse is actually used, what you can do is you can create a virtual warehouse, put it into suspend mode, and then you fire the queries, and then you'll understand. Okay, to give an example, if you're running any select count star, your virtual warehouse will not be used. Okay, So that time you can understand whether the virtual warehouse is really being used or not. So that is one of the things that you can try it out.